All right, so hello and welcome to Math 126, which is Applied Statistics. My name is Mike Deal, and I will be your professor for this course. And in this first video, just sort of an intro video, is basically just an orientation to the course, how to get signed up for the ebook and the homework system, and just to go over a little bit about what to expect this semester in our class. So here I'm on, of course, our Canvas page, and the first thing that you'll see on the Canvas page is a link to the syllabus for the course. So maybe I'll go over that first, and then I'll come back here to Canvas and show you what else is here. So if you click on the syllabus and open it, I think you get this document, hopefully. So just a couple of details here. These are our course dates. So officially, we are the 14th of March through the 2nd of May, which is about 7.5 weeks, which is a reasonable amount of time to finish the class. But we'll certainly be wrapped up by again the beginning of May. Probably out of this contact info here, the most important thing is my email address is right here. I'm a full-time professor in the math and computer science department in the day school here at Endicott. You can certainly reach me via email. If you have any questions or need anything, you can also, I think, through Canvas. A lot of you guys have used Canvas in courses before. There's also a link, of course, in there to send basically an email to me through there. That should work as well. So if you do need anything, please email me. Probably don't call me because I'm not always really in my office all that often, and I don't check my voicemail too regularly. So. Anyway, so please just send me an email if you need anything from me. This course, which probably the name says enough about what the course entails, is a typical first course in statistics. There's certainly no assumption that you know anything about statistics before taking this class, and hopefully after taking it and completing the course, you'll have at least a good foundational knowledge about statistics, either to help you be sort of a better informed person. Statistics are certainly all around us. And for a lot of you, your major sort of overlaps with statistics, most of social science, and certainly business. There's certainly lots of statistics there. And we'll certainly talk about how to do various things and do computations and interpretations of some of these things. I think typically for a lot of people, this is a course that is at least helpful towards senior thesis, that you'll at least have the sort of backbone of statistics knowledge that you might develop a little further in some research methods courses or things like that. So anyway, it's a good general class. And again, even if you're not super excited about statistics or math in general, I know for a lot of people math is not the favorite subject. Maybe for some of you it's been a while since you've taken a math course. Statistics I think is a good place to start in that there really isn't much pre-assumption of knowledge aside from just general quantitative reasoning and literacy. So that's kind of a overview of the course. There is a topical outline that's listed here, which, I assume most of these things won't look too familiar just yet. But anyway, these are the topics that we're going to cover. And there's some learning outcomes, which you can read later if you want. There is a book for the course, but it is an e-book. So there is nothing for you to purchase, sort of ahead of time for the course. You can, and I'll show you the link of how to purchase the e-book. But you can purchase it and get instant access, or maybe there's a very, very, very short waiting period, just basically for the credit card to probably go through. But you basically can have instant access to the ebook and also to the online homework system. So you don't need to worry about getting anything in advance or where do I go to do this. I'll show you exactly how to do this. So there is a book, and then it's bundled with an online homework system, which is called My Stat Lab. And that's also, where you're going to go in order to complete all of the homework for the course. Um, and I'll show you my stat lab as well. But basically, it's if you've used an ebook or taken a course that has sort of online homework, it's a fairly typical system where it's pretty user friendly. I think you'll find all of the assignments are posted there, and again, that's where you'll go and complete the homework. I should say it is obviously a math course, so you probably will want to complete a lot of problems, or at least have paper with you, so that you can maybe do the problems on paper, and then you're basically just typing in the answers. Um, but I'll let you figure out how you want to approach that. These two products are bundled together. The ebook and the My Stat Lab Access are all in the same place, and again, I'll show you how to get there in a few minutes. And I think it's about $100. It maybe has. When I first started teaching, it was like $99, but maybe by now it's crept up a little bit higher. But it's not too crazy, and certainly this is the only thing you have to purchase for the course, so it's pretty reasonable. The only other thing that you do need access to is Microsoft Excel, which I think hopefully most of you already have access to. If not, on a computer or laptop at home, maybe at work, you have access to Excel. If you are looking to not have to purchase Excel, you can. I've had students get by, going to libraries, most of which would have Excel on them. But you may want to invest in purchasing Excel, which again is probably about $100, or I think maybe it's a little bit less than that. But you do need it. So I would say you don't really want to try to take the course without Excel. And the reason just being that Excel is going to be where we go to do all of our computations. So, back in the day, certainly you were able to do all these computations using formulas and calculator and things like that. But it's just so much easier to do all this stuff in Excel. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do in each lecture video. But so you should have access to this. Now, I would say that you don't need to worry particularly about what version you have or what platform you're working on. So if you have a Mac or a Windows machine or whatever you've got, whatever version of Excel you have is fine. Even if it's a 10-year-old, version of Excel, that's fine. It'll have all the basic features that we're going to use. So try to get your hands on some machine that has Excel, and you maybe also want just a simple calculator, that just does addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, or maybe just most cell phones have calculators, and that's probably enough in terms of what you might need to do outside of Excel. Right. So the lectures for this course are all in Canvas. So I'll go back over to Canvas in a few minutes after we finish with this document. But when you're on Canvas, you'll see links, right, to each module will have a link to lecture videos. And basically they will be just like this video, which is my voice over top of usually Excel slide or PowerPoint slides, and some Excel demos, I guess I would say. And so my advice, if you've never taken an online class, is that these videos are more or less like being in an in-person class. Really, the only difference is that you can't see me, but you can still hear me and see all of the work that's being done. In other words, it's like seeing the blackboard or the whiteboard, and hearing the teacher's voice. So I think it's pretty good. I mean, the only thing that we lose by not actually being together in person is, you can't obviously ask a question to the video. But certainly, if you have questions, please feel free to send them along to me via email, and I'll give you some feedback. So my advice, again, if you've taken online classes before, you probably don't need any advice, but I would still say my advice would be, as you're watching the videos, take notes. I mean, I know sometimes it's tempting to just say, well, but the notes are posted, and they are. The slides are posted on Canvas as well. But to be honest, I think that it's really easy to just watch and listen to me and say, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But I think there is something to writing it down and taking regular notes, putting them in your own words. I'm sure there's lots of stuff in the videos that I don't write down, just like there would be in any class, but that might have been helpful for you to hear. And so, so I would encourage you to just get a regular old notebook or at least have paper to take notes while you're watching the lecture videos. I think it also sort of helps organize your thoughts and helps you to figure out, your version of understanding for the material. Anyway, so you'll see lots and lots of videos. They're YouTube videos, or at this point I've converted everything over to YouTube. And so when you're in Canvas and play the video, you'll probably recognize the format, that it's a YouTube video, which you can certainly play in YouTube if you want, but the videos will also play right in Canvas. So, but you can make them full screen and, whatever, all the usual things you can do with YouTube videos. You can turn on the captioning if you want. Right. Okay, so that's maybe it for the lectures. Grades are obviously important. The sort of formula for your grades is very simple. We'll have 2 exams, a midterm exam and a final exam, and those add up to 75% or three quarters of your grade, and the other quarter of your grade will come from the homework assignments. So let me say a little bit about each of those things. The homework assignments, like I said, are you'll be completing them online in this interface called My Stat Lab, which I'll show you. The questions are generally, multiple choice or maybe fill in the blanks with words or computation. So for a lot of them, it's, compute blah, 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 and you get an answer that's, 0.56. And so then you punch that into the computer and, hit enter or whatever, and that's your answer. So, which I know for math can sometimes be a little bit challenging to sort of type math, but most of the time your answer is either a number, which is pretty easy to type, or it's like sort of a multiple choice kind of a thing. So I will say the homework system does allow you to, so the homework system will give you some feedback. So it will give you, like if you answer a question and you get it wrong, there will often be a, hey, just a reminder, whatever, and it'll try to give you sort of a hint. And it'll let you take a second guess. In some cases, I think for some problems, it even lets you take a third guess right away. Now, of course, you still might, I guess, get the problem wrong, even though you've had a couple of guesses. The other option, or the other thing that you have at your disposal, is that if you get a problem wrong, you can actually go back and just redo the whole problem. And I'll show you this, but there's a little button, I guess, at the bottom of the problem. I think it's usually in the lower right corner, that'll say, similar problem. And basically what that'll do is it'll kind of shuffle up the parameters or the numbers in the problem and let you try again. And you still get credit if you get it right. And you can redo these as many times as you want. So I think that's the best way to do homework in this kind of a class. But I will say, just as sort of as a word of caution, when you're doing the homework, I mean, obviously do your best, and yes, obviously take advantage of the fact that you can redo problems, and get credit, and that's nice. But I will say, as a word of caution, don't rely on, well, let me just redo this problem 4, 5, or 6 times until I get it right. I mean, sure, you can do that, and sure, getting points for the problem is important, but what you ultimately want to do is have a really good understanding of how to do the problem. And I think a lot of times it's tempting to say, well, let me just keep redoing this, and eventually I'll stumble upon the right answer, I'll get my points, and I'll move on. And the danger there is that, of course, for the exams, you're not going to be allowed to redo problems. You're going to have one chance, and that's it. And so I typically get a lot of complaints from students who say, well, I did great in the homework, and then I, failed the exams. And I'll say, well, you did great on the homework because you did each problem, 4, 5, 6 times until you finally got it right. And I don't think you really understood what you were doing. You just sort of persisted and kept trying random things and eventually got the right answer, but didn't extract from that the learning piece, which is, okay, how am I supposed to do this problem? So anyway, my advice to you, and I'll probably say this as the course goes on, because right now you haven't tried any of these problems, so this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But my advice to you is really try to limit the amount of redoing of problems. And when you do redo them, make sure you're fully understanding why your wrong answers were wrong and why the ultimate right answer is correct. And that's my best advice for not sort of falling into the trap of my homework average is a 98, but my exam average is a 50, you know, which happens sometimes, unfortunately. So try to really be responsible for your knowledge and understanding when you go through the homework assignments. Okay, I should just say one last thing. There are a lot of other things in the My Stat Lab, this homework system. You're only required to, and you're only getting credit for doing the homework assignments that I assign you, and I'll show you exactly where they are. If you want to do the other stuff that's in there, you've paid for this access, so feel free to do other problems. There are ample other examples floating around that you can certainly use, and certainly try. And same idea. It'll give you some feedback and whatnot about the problems, but you don't have to do them. So don't get confused. Oh, wait a minute, this thing popped up. Am I supposed to be doing this? It's only the required homework sets, and there are 6 of them that you have to do for credit. Okay. There are due dates for each of these assignments, and the homework system assesses, I believe it's a 20 or 25% penalty per day for any lateness on the assignments. The assignments are all due on Sunday nights, which I thought was good to, for people who are going to work on weekends on this stuff, you have, until Sunday night to do it. But please do make sure you have the assignments turned in on time. There will not be any extensions on any assignments for any reason. So if your homework is due at 11 o'clock on Sunday night and at 9 o'clock the homework system goes down, or you have an internet outage at your house, or whatever issue might pop up, that's not an acceptable excuse for getting an extension, because you could do all of these assignments at any time. So please do make sure you're not waiting until the last minute to complete the work. All right, so that's it for homework, and again, I'll show you the system shortly. Exams will be in Canvas. So exams you will take, they are mostly sort of fill in, numerical computations and fill in answers. There's some multiple choice and stuff like that. But it's mostly you doing computations and then typing your answers into Canvas. The exams will, of course, be timed. I think the midterm is a 2-hour exam, and I think the final exam I give you 2.5 hours. I'll give you more advice when we get closer to them. But right now, I will at least just say they are open notes and open. And obviously you're going to use your computer, so you don't have to have memorized things. But I would say that just like any other exam, even though you have access to your notes and all this stuff, you do want to probably study and prepare for it the same way you would prepare for any other exam, because that 2 hours goes by pretty quickly. And if you're having to sort of look stuff up or watch videos to try to figure out answers, you're going to run out of time, really, really quickly. So anyway, so we have a midterm exam and a final exam. The midterm is after the first 3 modules, and then the final is after the second 3 modules. But more details about those on Canvas. All right, so I think that's about it. You do want to, with an online class, you do want to make sure you're dedicating time every week to it. I know most of you probably are working or have other life responsibilities. So try to dedicate maybe a couple of weeknights and maybe some time on weekends to the course. Some weeks will be easier than others. I think the course kind of ramps up, so the first couple of units aren't that hard. But the second half of the course, I think, is much harder, and you really will need the 20 hours a week in those weeks to complete all the material. So, and if you do get extended time on exams or other testing accommodations, that's very easy for me to do in Canvas. So just send me an email and have the student support office send me your accommodation letter, and I'm happy to do that. All right, so let me close the syllabus and go back over to Canvas for a minute. So that's right here. While we're in Canvas, let me say what is the sort of format of a typical week in our course. So the course is split up into modules, which if your screen doesn't already look like this, if you click on modules on the left here, it'll, I think, make it hopefully look like this. Right, so each unit has a topic, and generally speaking, each unit has several things. So maybe I'll use week 2 as my example here. There's sort of announcements, which I used to use more often when I was developing the class. You probably don't really have to click on these. I will probably send you guys an email every week just with basically the information that's in here. So don't worry too much about reading the announcements piece. The most important thing that's on Canvas for each week are the video lectures. So if I click on that, you'll see that there's a series of videos here. And again, yes, these are YouTube videos. So you can play them right here and they'll play. If I hit play, for example, the little YouTube thing comes up and the video will hopefully play. Oh yes, it's playing.
Okay, so welcome to...
And these videos are, again, just me voicing over these slides and writing, right? I made these on a tablet, and so sometimes I'm inking, doing a problem on the slides or whatever. For most of the units, there are a bunch of videos, or at least more than one. I think for this unit, there are 6 videos. Some of them are longer than others, obviously. I think roughly speaking, each video is maybe half an hour to an hour at the most. So, and these correspond to the sections in the textbook. So anyway, so for each week or for each unit, you want to certainly watch all of the lecture videos that are here. Again, take notes. I think that's an important thing to do. And then the other thing that you'll see in each week is, so these are the videos. This second link here are to the slides. So some students have said they find it handy to have the slides that are in the videos, so that they can, I don't know, some people I guess like to print them out and then take notes on top of them or whatever people want to do. So the slides are also here. I think these are posted as PDFs maybe. And then the other thing that's in here is some sort of notice of homework. Now, if you click on this, this isn't the actual homework, of course. This is just a little note here saying, please watch these videos, and then go do the homework in my stat lab, right? So you won't actually be completing the homework here in Canvas. You'll be doing that in my stat lab, which I'll show you after this. But that's basically what you'll see in most weeks. Sometimes there's other like handouts or things, or extra videos. And some weeks I've recorded some extra examples videos, whatever. So the other thing that you see on here are links for our midterm exam, and at the bottom is our final exam. And for each of these, I'll just say first, obviously, if you click on the details and instructions link, it'll give you, well, details and instructions about the midterm exam. And then the second one, if you've used Canvas before, the little rocket ship, means this is the actual exam. So if you click on this, you can click on it, but don't hit, yours says something like start the quiz or something, I think, or I think mine says preview, but I think yours says start the quiz or something like that. Don't hit that, because as soon as you hit that, the exam is unlocked and you have 2 hours to complete it, which probably you don't want to do until you're ready to take it. Okay? But you can click on the link before that says, information about the exam. That's fine. You can click on this and read about it. So I think that's about it for Canvas. The other thing I'll say is that your grades will all eventually be here in Canvas. Obviously, the exams are going to be graded in Canvas, and those grades will appear here. Your homework, while you're not completing it in Canvas, I will migrate your grades over to Canvas. So Canvas is the place you want to look for, for your grade information. But I think that's about it for Canvas. I will say, while I'm still here, for the first week, so this is the video that you're watching right now, is in this intro video. Um, but if I click on this, the video is here. But um, you're for the first week only. There are no lecture videos, so I didn't record videos to teach you the material for the first unit. Instead, I'm going to ask that you go into my stat lab, which is where we're going to head next, and just read chapter 1. And then it's pretty simple and straightforward. It's just sort of an overview of terms and statistics and stuff like that. So read that in the ebook. This shouldn't take you more than an hour at the most. And then you should be ready to complete the first homework assignment in my stat lab as well. And again, I'll show you both of those in a minute. Um, so for the first week, there isn't a lecture video. It's just this video that you're watching right now, which is just an overview of the course. For every other week, you won't really need to use the ebook. I mean, you can, and you're welcome to read in there if you want some extra information. But for every other week, you'll see lecture videos, right? So lecture videos, video lectures, and so on. And so you won't need to go anywhere except Canvas to get the instructions for the topics. So, all right. So the last thing I'll show you is how to sign up for and use my stat lab. So if you click on this link here, which I won't click on because it'll pop up in a PDF, this link here gives you step-by-step instructions for how to sign up for my stat lab, and it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. So click on this and do those steps. And when you purchase access to my stat lab, it'll look something like this. So I've clicked over here over to my stat lab. So this is the interface for my stat lab. Again, there's so much stuff here, and again, we're going to use very few things in this entire menu. So pretty much the only things I think you ever really need to click on are homework, which will obviously take you to the homework assignments that you have to do. And then the only other thing is that the ebook is also in here. And it's kind of funny that they don't just put over here ebook or textbook or something. Instead, I don't know why, they just say chapter contents. So if you click on this, chapter contents, or yours should hopefully say something similar, and you click on a chapter, right? So chapter 1, let's say. Here's the ebook. So, and if you click on a section, right? So if I want to read, so chapter 1 has sections 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3, and I think that's it. So if you click on a section, then if you click on this view multimedia e-text, you'll get the ebook. You'll get section 1.1. You'll get the it's more or less like a PDF kind of format of section 1.1. So and then obviously you do the same thing for the other ones. Okay, so the ebook is here, so you have access to each section and each chapter. Again, this is what I mean when I say there's a lot of extra stuff, right? Oh, here's a case study. Here's review problems. Here's an activity to do. Like there's all this other stuff. None of that is required, but yes, you're welcome to look at them if you want. And also with each section, this is the ebook right here, but the book also has videos, right? And the videos are basically this. I mean, they're not the same videos as the ones that I've made, but it's the same idea, is that the video presentation, if you click on this, is you're going to get a YouTube video of someone talking you through the notes. So again, you're welcome to do that if you want. You don't have to, but it's there. And all these things, study plans and study guides and all these other things that are in here, again, are just other example problems that you don't have to complete, but you're welcome to do so if you want. Okay? So let me go back to the main menu here. So that's under chapter contents. That's your access to the ebook. Okay, the only other tab that you need to worry about is the homework tab. So if you click on homework, it'll bring you to a screen that hopefully looks something like this. And these are the 6 homework assignments that you do have to complete. As you can see, it references the topic and the chapter. And these are the same things I have written in Canvas. And the other thing you might notice here is that there are, of course, due dates for each of the assignments. Basically, one is due every Sunday night at 11 o'clock for the course of the semester. Okay? So if you click on any assignment, I'll just click on this one just for example. It tells you sort of some information about your progress. Right now, I've done none of the problems, so 0 out of 13 problems. Um, and if you click on a problem, I'll just click on question 9. It pops up a little window here, and of course it's going to hopefully load question 9 here. And it says, okay, so here's a problem, and if there's oftentimes more than one part to the problem, and it'll just basically give you, part A first, and then you can click through. I think you can skip maybe to the other parts. Um, and for this question, it's looking for a numerical answer. It says, what's the probability that a randomly selected egg hatches in less than 22 days? Well, I have no idea. But if I click on this blank here, it's going to let me type in an answer. I'm just going to make up a number, 0.66 maybe. And then you can say check answer. So if I hit check answer, unless I'm very lucky, it's probably wrong. Okay, right, so it says that's wrong. And then tries to give you a little bit of advice. I got to be honest, sometimes this advice is helpful. Sometimes this advice is super not helpful. And by that, I just mean that this homework system and the ebook we use doesn't use Excel. And so a lot of times the advice they give you about, what should you do, like this says convert the X Z scores using it, I would say that's terrible advice. Because they're trying to tell you what to do if you were not using Excel or you were not using any technology, and instead you were going to try to do this with a calculator and a chart or something. So anyway, sometimes the advice is helpful, sometimes it isn't. I know that's probably not super helpful for me to say to you because you probably don't know the difference. But if it doesn't sound like something that we do or something that you know how to do, then probably this advice is not super helpful. Um, so, but what does it let you do is it lets you try it again, right? So I did 0.66 before, and that was wrong. So I think I actually maybe can figure the answer out to this. Um, 34. So standard deviation is 1. So 68, 34. So I think it's maybe 0.16, maybe? Oh, no, okay. I'm apparently not good about doing these things. Oh, it's the other side. It's less than 22 days. Oh, 0.34 maybe. Okay, well, I'm terrible at this problem, I guess. Oh, okay, it was 0.16. Okay, anyway, well, right. So probably don't do them in your head, and probably do some actual work. Right. So at the end of your however many guesses it gives you, again, it's either 2 or 3 guesses for most problems. It's going to just sort of give up on you a little bit here, and it's going to say, so you got it wrong, and it'll give you the correct answer so that maybe you can see, oh, I typed 0.157 and the answer was 0.158. Okay, I mean, that probably means you did it correctly. You just sort of rounded incorrectly. Or in this case, my answer is kind of way off. So sometimes seeing the numerical answer is helpful and sometimes it really isn't. But in any case, if I say okay, it then moves me at least to the next question, right? So I try the next question, and I'll just make up some answers here again, and it probably gives me the same bad advice that didn't help me in the first place. So if I get that part wrong, and then there's a third part here, so let me just type in one more round of wrong guessing. So if I finish the problem, right. So if I finish the problem, I've gotten all 3 parts wrong. So what I can do is I could say, all right, you know what? I obviously don't understand this question. I'm going to go back to the notes, or I'm going to go back to examples, and I'm going to, review and try to learn this a little bit better. But whenever I feel like I'm ready to try the question again, I can come back in here and ask for a similar question. So even if I don't say that right now, if I say similar question right now, it's going to generate a whole new version of problem number 11. Which is good. And I can retry the question. If I want to move on and say, okay, go to the next question, let me try a different one. If I want to ever go back, so if I click here to go back, it remembers my wrong answers. And I think actually if you click on each one, it maybe even, oh, sorry, these are the right answers, and it reminds us of our wrong answer. But I can then again come back here and say, similar question. If I click on this, it'll just give me a fresh version of this question, which you can then try again and get full credit for. Okay? So, and if you close, right, so if you do some work, so I mean, I did a really terrible job, but I guess I did get, I completed one question. So if you hit save, and I believe even if you try to just X this out, it'll like either auto save or it'll ask you if you want to save, but maybe just be in the good habit of when you're finished working on an assignment, you can hit save here, and it'll save your progress, and you can see it when you come back to look at the assignment. It'll say, oh, okay, here's your 13 questions, and well, the progress I've made so far is that I got this question wrong. Now, when you get a question right, I think it puts like a little green check mark next to it or something like that. So, like for example, I think if I hit this, which I think is the right answer, um, it if I go to the next question and say, oh, well, I don't want to do this next question, instead I'm just going to save my progress. You'll see it puts a little green check mark to say, yes, I got question number 1 right. And in particular, my score now is at least I got 1 out of 13, which is 7 point whatever percent for this assignment. Okay, you have something similar to me that I think if you click on, there's some way for you to see grades. So I think you have something over here like grades, or you can just look through each assignment. If I click on homework one more time, and I pull up all of the assignments, I think your score is maybe over here or something like this. But if you just click on any one of the assignments, you can review and you can go back in, right? You don't have to do the assignment all in one day or all at one shot. I can come in 3 days later and say, oh, okay, now I'm ready to do problem number 6 and open that up and do it. Okay? Um, all right, so close that. So I think that's pretty much everything I needed to show you about pretty much everything. Um, so you're ready to begin the course now if you want. Again, maybe read the announcements here for week 1. Most of this is just stuff that I'm going to probably send you in an email or have already sent you in an email. And again, right, for the first week, uh, only you're going to read in the ebook, read chapter 1 in the ebook that you get to from my stat lab, and then complete the first homework assignment here in my stat lab. This one right here, it's pretty quick. I think it's okay, so it's 15 questions, but these are mostly multiple choice and sort of short answer questions, so it's not too tough, I don't think. And then you can sort of self-pace. I mean, there are due dates, right? So each homework assignment has a due date. And again, these are Sunday nights, or the due dates. But you can work ahead, if you've got a week where you have a lot of time to dedicate. I mean, you can do multiple weeks worth of material. There's nothing wrong with completing things early. The midterm exam has a due date of April 8th. That you have to complete all in one sitting. You can't come back, hit pause and then do the rest of it the next day, since it's a timed exam. And then, of course, the final exam, May 2nd, is the last day of our semester. So the final exam simply has to be completed by then. So, all right. So I think that's it for the orientation video. And like I said, you're ready to begin the course. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. And good luck. And I'll be in touch, periodically just to say hello and see how everybody's doing with the material. So, okay. So good luck.